Happy Saturday, folks. Bon samedi. Tout qui chose magnifique. Everything going well? Most people are not on social media all that much on the weekends. So hopefully you guys will be able to catch up next week when you start obsessing over social media again. So I've been noticing an uptick in social media posts about Louisiana languages and identity, and I thought I would share my perspective on these things. So you guys probably know I'm a historian, have a Ph.D. in history, American history. I'm a specialist of Louisiana. And I've been doing linguistic work for almost 20 years now, both in language restoration, but also resource development, teaching languages, and I'm also a genealogist. So all these things are interwoven because a community is sort of like, if you look at a shirt, for example, there's fabric, right? And so communities have these threads that bind them. And for me, it's always been the languages that they speak, location, and genealogy, who they're marrying, right? And so all these things are really, really crucial in defining communities as distinct from others. And so naturally you get identities that are distinct as well, to make a distinction between them and between others. So I've been at this for a very long time, right? So I think I know a thing or two about it. So the uptick, I would say, started in the past couple years. Definitely there are two catalysts. The first is Nathan Robley's new documentary called Finding Cajun. Came out in 2018, but really people are starting to see it now. And it's available on Amazon Prime, Finding Cajun. It's also being shown in Louisiana on LPB. I'm not sure to what extent it's being repeated on LPB, but I think it's had 2 showings already in the past week or 2. And so lots of people have been seeing that and commenting about that, both good and bad and neutral. And then when I participated in 2 games on Ecolinguist's YouTube channel last year, one I hosted a game in Kurivini, and then the other I was a participant, not the host, and I was speaking in French in that one. And so the world got to see, this a Louisiana Creole actually speaking these languages, probably youngish for the first time. And so there's lots of buzz about both of those languages. So language and identity are really complicated in Louisiana. It's a complication that's not always been present, but it's complicated since the 60s, 50s, 60s, 1950s, and 60s, for very specific reasons that were nationally rooted, and then impacted local communities. And so people will identify their languages in Louisiana based on how they self-identify racially and also ethnically, not by the name of the language, not by what the language is. And so Cajuns in Louisiana who are white identified will say that they speak Cajun when probably 50% of them speak Kurivini. And the same thing is true for Creoles. You'll have lots of Creoles in Louisiana who can identify racially as white, mixed race, or black, who will say that the language they speak is Creole, when in fact it's French. And so this is really confusing for a lot of people. It's definitely confusing for people who don't speak those languages, and who are not academics. And it takes academics a while to decipher it all. If the academic speaks French, then it's easier. Or if they speak Kurivini, it's even easier to distinguish what language the Creole and the Cajun are actually speaking. Are they speaking French or are they speaking Kurivini? And if the academic doesn't speak either of those languages, I mean, it takes forever, and they're subject to misinterpretation until this academic understands the linguistic landscape. There's some literature about this nomenclature issue in Louisiana. By the way, I think to my knowledge, it's the only place, one of the only places in the world, where you have this nomenclature issue.